All right, so the first thing I wanted to do was try to say that this is my attempt at second grade, all the way up to intro to calc mathematics. And the reason that I'm doing this on this is because this is probably the most worthless book I've ever owned. This is from the Midwest Center for Stress and Anxiety, and this woman, because she goes on Oprah, is clearly promoting Satanos. And, self-enlightenment is nothing more than the recognition of a power you do not have. So this is not about this. So this is about your good old friend, the number line. And this is what you call in second grade an open number line. But I am going to take this from second grade, and actually any grade where you start counting. Okay, so we're going to call this 1, and we're going to call this 10. Okay, but I'm not writing 1 and 10 because I want to show you that this means something. This arrow right here means something, and this arrow right here means something. So you're in second grade, so you know that 1 to 10, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, they're supposed to be equally spaced between the number line. But an open number line does not have any tick marks anywhere. So an open number line goes from, now in second grade you'll say it goes from 0 to whatever you decide it to be. But actually, these arrows mean that it goes to a concept known by a symbol, infinity. It's a little bit easier to draw and then look at. That one looks like 2 circles. Okay. So, and this is once you get to algebra and calculus, this is known as negative infinity. This is known as positive infinity or just infinity. So that's what those arrows mean. But if you're counting on a basic number line, you are counting from a disclosed direction. Now some people say, well, right here is 0. And in second grade that makes sense, but actually that would be a ray. A ray has a closed dot and it goes out to any number you can count. So infinity is just the biggest number that you could possibly think of, and it's still bigger. But you think 0, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can only fit about 8 in there, so we'll just say 7. That is your number line. So you open dot means it's greater than or less than, so you guys are starting to learn about the alligator eating the bigger number. This is greater than, and this is less than. So you guys are still learning about that, but you should be learning greater than, less than. If it's always greater than 0, it's actually an open circle, and then everything out there goes from that. But, again, why I think that it's important for even first and second grade learners to go forward in the mathematics is you will always have the answer to why do we learn this? Why am I learning this? Why am I learning this? Well, it's important you know how to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But this dot here is going to be in the negative infinity because I'm going to put 0 at the center. Okay, so 0 is at the center of our number line. I try to do my best to make it in the center. But a number line goes to infinity. So for your purposes, let's just say that's still 10. So then a space from 1 to 10, about that same size, if you were to take a ruler and look at a ruler, that would be like counting inches on a ruler, or millimeters, or centimeters, or counting a measurement in a measuring cup that would be going in that direction. You have a positive amount of juice, milk, ingredients, flour. You have a ruler that's measuring how big is your tooth. How big is the plant? So anyway, 0 would, anything growing would be, anything, above 0 would be positive. Anything below 0 would be negative. And you'll hear negative and positive, but basically it just means, you'll say in second grade, but you can't have anything lower than 0. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can have an infinite number of things less than 0. When your parents or the government or a government spends more money than they have, they are borrowing money. When you finance a car, it's a very bad car. I'm trying to look into the thing and draw, and that's much harder. Okay, when you finance a very snazzy automobile with square tires, that car is not worth as much money as you paid for it as soon as you drive away with it. And your parents probably did not pay for it. They probably did something called financed it. Well, as soon as you drive it off, they owe this because they've signed it. Yes, I will pay that. And if they don't, they come and pick up the car. But they borrow $15,000 and then they pay it back. And as soon as you start driving that car, it's worth $10,000. It's worth $5,000 after just a few years. Anyway, $5,000 means you have negative equity. And equity just means how much is it worth? It's worth $5,000 and you still owe $15,000. You have $10,000 of negative equity. So you can go below 0. You can borrow too much money. And then the bank says you owe us the money plus you owe us more money because you borrowed more than you had in your bank. So the point is, the same distance from 0 to 10 also exists out here, from 0 to 10. But this is called negative 10. 0 to negative 10. All right? So you got 0. So this point is somewhere out here. And halfway between 0 and 10 is exactly 5. Halfway between 0 and negative 10 is exactly negative 5. So this point is somewhere between negative 10 and negative 5. So that has a value. But I want to show you why it's important that you learn how to count. Not just so that you learn how to count so that you can add and subtract, which I'd like to show, but also so that you can understand where we go with this. Because this is a number line that goes right and left. But there are also another number line that goes right and left. But this one is like, if you were to put these two number lines like this and like this one has a negative direction. This one has a positive direction. And you see these numbers all the time when you look on a map. If you're playing a video game and you're walking in a two-dimensional top-down view, you are seeing a coordinate in the up-down direction and the left-right direction. But guess what? There is a third number line that comes out. And that third line that comes out goes up and what? Down. And it does go down below 0. If you're playing Minecraft again, you can dig under the surface of the ground and you would be in the negative direction. So you have this number line, this negative number line, you have this positive number line, and you have this negative number line, and then you have this positive number line, this negative number line. So that is 3 dimensions. People ask, what's the 4th dimension? Time is a dimension, but basically when you're dealing with physics, you're dealing with points in planes, and the change in points in planes is basically still movement within the 3rd dimension. But all that really means is somewhere out here, if there's a point just floating around out there, you need to be able to put a number on it. Well, it went up 1, it went right 2, it went left, and it went up one, it went, and that's why it's much easier to use north, south, east, and west, because north and south are one dimension, east and west are another dimension, and then up and down if you're flying in the real world. See, the real world is how you actually solve problems, but it does all go back to just counting on a number line, just a simple number line. So when you say something fell out of the sky, if something fell out of the sky, it had a starting position out here, and it has an end position here. It's on the ground, so this would be 0 in the up-down direction. So if we were to only look at that direction, it would just be the top part of this. Well, there's no reason, if it's positive, that you couldn't just say, well, as far as it falling from 50 feet up in the air down to the ground at 0 feet, there's no reason we couldn't just use this positive infinity here and just only count, well, back from 50, it fell to 1. So that's why you learn addition and subtraction. So there's your number line basic lesson, and I would like to teach you how to use the tool of adding and subtracting on a number line. Stay tuned. Second grade all the way up to college calculus.